Hello, today is October 11th, 2019. I am Caleb.
And I'm Anthony.
And we are The Rivals. And it has been a while. We did a preseason, right? We did a preseason episode.
I think we say it's been a while every time.
Every single time. Yeah. One day we'll get on a schedule. Today is actually the first of the CONCACAF
Nations
League. I was going to call it the League of Nations, but that's like something
cooler.
Yeah.
Way cooler.
Yeah. So we're going to definitely talk about that. But first, we want to do a quick EPL recap so far. Would you like to start?
No, absolutely. I want you to go ahead and take it away because you're avoiding the conversation.
So I could probably spend a good 90 minutes talking about this because it makes me so angry.
So tell us why you're angry.
So I'm angry for a few reasons. I'm angry because of the media making a big deal about everything, about Pochettino and him leaving and the players and people having affairs with each other and all this other nonsense, right? And the bottom line is the team isn't good. We're not doing well. This has been a really bad season. I told you at the very beginning, I told you, this is the season we're going to challenge, we're going to win something. And the only thing we're going to win is being the last place team in London. Because literally we're the last place team in London right now. We have West Ham, we have you guys, we have Arsenal,
West Ham
and Crystal Palace.
West Ham sits at 8th place. And Crystal Palace sits at 6th place. Chelsea at 5th. Arsenal at 3. Tottenham
11?
9.
Oh, we're 9. At least we're
climbing the table.
We're top 10. We're top 10. That's insane. It's just been a miserable season, and I think it all stems from just bad attitude of the players. We had a couple of players that wanted to leave. They said they wanted to leave, and nobody came calling for them. And so it's kind of got to be embarrassing. Imagine if you're Christian Eriksen, one of the best players in the Premier League, and you're like, come and get me, Barcelona. Come and get me, Real Madrid. And they're like, nah, we're good. He put himself out there, and he got his feelings crushed. It's like what one guy, like you go up to a girl and you ask her out, and she tells you...
Nowadays, people go on Tinder, and they swipe left or right.
Oh, is that what people do?
Yes.
Oh, so you don't get the embarrassment that you used to.
It's still got to be embarrassing. I've never been on Tinder, but
But do you know if people swipe left on you?
I don't know. I've never been.
Oh. It's different than being rejected to your face, though. It's got to be. But anyway, he did that, and he got rejected, basically. Nobody wanted him. And so now he's stuck, and you can tell by the way he plays every week that he doesn't want to be there.
Well, listen, Pochettino took a hard stance at the beginning of the season, and he benched him.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing absolutely poorly. Horrible. Eriksen came on and actually saved a couple of games for you guys. And then you could just tell that relationship it's strained now. It's strained. It's funny to me, though, that you open up a new stadium, big, beautiful, world-class stadium. You finally go out and you spend how much money on Ndombele?
Ndombele was, I think, 65.
So a ton, like big spender money.
Yeah.
And you're in 9th place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's early in the season. It's absolutely early. Things
Not that
can
early.
change.
How many games is... How many games?
I mean, 8 matches
All right,
played.
all right.
It's pretty early. It's embarrassing.
Absolutely.
And for how much shtick I got last season, and then Chelsea finished above Arsenal and above Tottenham, and how much shtick I got when everybody said we're going to be so bad with Pulisic coming in, no other transfers, we're going to play the kids, we're going to get relegated. I've got a little smirk on my face.
Yeah,
right
you
now.
sure do. You sure do, and I guess it's earned. The bottom line is, though, the players that don't want to be there need to go.
I think
The end.
I think it is time. I think you had a golden generation of players. You had Kane, you had Rose, you had Kyle Walker. I mean, I know how you feel about Kyle Walker, but still a good player. I mean, Eriksen. It was Vertonghen, Alderweireld. Core group of players for a very long time now. It's been, 5-6 seasons of all of them together? I mean, sometimes it comes to an end. And fortunately, I don't think there was a trophy out of that group.
No, that's okay. We weren't...
It's not okay.
No, you see, that's the thing. It is okay. Because the plan, I've told you this many times, people don't seem to understand. The plan was keep Pochettino, build the stadium, and then start challenging for stuff. That was the entire plan the entire time.
So this is the plan. You have the stadium. You've kept Pochettino. So you have a team that's been set, works together. They all know the system. They know the coach. They all know each other.
But that's the problem.
You've got the brand new stadium. You've got 70,000 fans. 9th place.
So that's the problem. Like, I was reading a quote from Sir Alex Ferguson's book where he got rid of some players after they had just won the league. And he would rotate his squad every 5 or 6 years. And even if they had just won something, he would just ship players out. It was time for the squad to change. It's kind of like crop rotation back in the day. You don't plant cabbages every single season. Your dirt gets all the nutrients sucked out of it. So you plant cabbages one year, then wheat the next, maybe like blackberries the next. I don't know. I'm not a farmer. But the whole idea is you got to bring in new players every season to keep the team hungry. And I think with having the same players for 5-6 years now, I would probably say they're probably tuning out the manager's message because they've heard it for 6 years. Now you got to bring in new players who don't know the system, who can buy into it, buy into his ideas. Obviously, they're good ideas. He brought this team out of nowhere to where we are now. I think it's just time for spring cleaning. And I think the players that need to go are Eriksen for sure. He should never play again. I don't care how much it hurts us. In the short term, he should not play again because he's hurting the team more.
I'm so surprised you've soured on him so quickly.
It's the attitude. No player's bigger than the team. Are you a supporter of your club or are you a supporter of the players? I said this before. You can love the players on your team. But at the end of the day, if they leave, are you not a fan anymore? Of course you are. Players come and go.
You can still be a fan of a player.
You can follow him and support him in his endeavors, but if he's hurting your team...
It's like when Eden Hazard left. I mean, I had no resentment. We owed nothing to him at that point. Absolutely nothing. And I think I said this in the last episode. I mean, thank you, good luck.
Yeah. And that's the thing with, if he had left on a good, I would have different feelings, but he doesn't want to be there and he's not trying. He's not trying. So
what's the fix? You ship the season and you wait
till next time? I don't even think that's necessary. I think if you just get rid of the problem people. Look, Danny Rose has been vocal for the last...
You're saying come January, gone.
Gone. And I think if I were Pochettino, I would generally bench Eriksen. I would make him play with the under-23s or the reserve team.
This is the Diego Costa.
Yeah, he would not play again for me. He wouldn't play again for me. Serge Aurier needs to go. Danny Rose needs to go.
He's been a bust.
Danny Rose, because he's been a problem in the locker room for a while, and he needs to go. And he wanted to leave over the summer, and he didn't get to go, and he needs to go. The problem also is that Lo Celso was everyone's heir apparent to Eriksen, and he's hurt, and he's still got like another 4 weeks to go. So, but I think
that's a lot of players, and that's going to take big investment. Is that ownership group big enough to make those kinds of investments?
Yeah, I think now that the stadium's done, I think there was definitely
come time to not rebrand, but rebuild. What type of investment monetarily do you think this ownership group needs to make, and what type of investment do you think they can make? Are we talking Man City, Liverpool levels?
Oh, nobody. We can't.
Right under that. What? I mean, brand new world class stadium that's competes with the rest of them in the entire world. I mean,
right, but you don't make the profits after one season.
No.
So you have to build the profits, and then you can do that. And the whole point of the stadium is to be able to compete with the big teams.
Right. So that's what I'm asking.
So
where do you expect them to be at?
I expect them to be exactly where we are.
With the best players in the world, to purchase the best players in the world.
I think we can. The best players in the world are going to go to like 3-4 teams. We're talking about the tier under that.
Okay.
We're talking about the tier under that want to come play for Pochettino because Pochettino is a great manager. He's not like world class, but I think he's great. And I think he does really good things with younger players. He makes them better players.
What are the odds he leaves at the end of the season?
I don't think he leaves.
What are the odds?
I guess it would depend on what happens in January. I don't think he leaves, though. I really don't. I think he ships players out. I don't think Levy fires him.
I don't think Levy fires him. I think they come in. Another team comes in with an offer he can't refuse.
Well, they'd have to pay huge money to have.
And which team am I thinking about?
What, Madrid?
Yes.
Yeah. The rumor is, of course, if Pochettino leaves, we get Allegri. And I don't want Pochettino to go. But if we really do get Allegri to replace him, That's not a bad replacement.
It's not a bad replacement.
He's a phenomenal manager that's won so many things with Juventus over the years.
But he couldn't win the Champions League with them, though.
That's fine. He won the league. He made Juventus into the powerhouse in Italy when, for a long time it was AC Milan or Inter Milan or Roma. But anyway, that's that. I think that needs to happen. And the fan base loves him. They still sing his name at every game. They're still singing his name during the game. So he hasn't lost the fans, and I don't think he's lost the management.
You can't. I mean, I'm on record with you got to win trophies to be successful. If you don't win trophies, you're not successful. That was my biggest criticism of your Klopp. He won the trophy. I shut my mouth now. Don't like that he won the trophy, but he did. So, I mean, I think that is what defines you as a coach and as a great team, as a great coach, as great players. You win things. He hasn't done it. I think he's a good coach. I think they're good players. I think Harry Kane's a great striker. I think you always tell me his stats. Got to start winning something, though.
Well, you're not going to win anything with this Liverpool and Manchester City team running
an
riot.
FA Cup.
Sure, and that's what I thought was going to happen this year. And, I mean, we're still in it for now. But anyway, that's why I get so irritated. That it's been nothing but rumors about Pochettino leaving and him just like quitting. It's just ridiculous stuff.
So let's switch to the pride of London.
Arsenal?
Oh, I can't believe you said that.
All right,
so listening somewhere in his ear.
So, tell me the tear in your heart between your favorite club and your hero,
Captain America.
Captain America.
It's tough, right? I've been a Chelsea supporter 13 years now. How old am I? Yes, 13 years now. Wake up every Saturday, wake up every Sunday, turn on the game, watch the game. Been to the bridge twice. Haven't been able to catch a game there yet. I will one day. I've been a U.S. men's national team player just as long, or fan just as long, and I watch every U.S. game, men's, every youth national team game. I watch every game that a youth national team player plays in across the entire world. Christian Pulisic is a talent. He came in for a lot of money. The team is doing good based on expectations.
Right.
So I can't be upset at that. But it is tough. It is. My heartstrings are torn because I turn on and I check the lineup and I see that he's not there. And then we get a result. And I'm happy. But there's a little bit in me that's sad. And it's not sad. I do think... I think he's talented enough to play in that lineup. And, I mean, even in the Champions League... He didn't even make the 18, which was strange to me.
Yeah.
Because the players on the roster aren't that much better than him. He's not that worse. Much worse. So it's tough. It's tough. I like that the team's doing well. I'm never going to complain that the team's doing well. I think Frankie needs to open his heart a little bit to Christian. And I do think that and I'm going to say something that's going to be a little bit of a hot take. I do think that the English player is getting the nod because of, and I think they're performing. So I'm really walking a fine line here. I think they are performing, but I do think players are getting the nod over him because of their nationality.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
For 20 seasons, 10 seasons, 15 seasons, whatever you want to put the number at, academy kids never came through the Chelsea system. Yeah. They were good. They were talented. We've loaned them. And they didn't break through. And for the first season ever, and it's crazy because Christian's 21 years old, that Chelsea's playing youngsters and he's not playing. And so it's strange and it's difficult. But I think Callum Hudson-Odoi is a very good player. He just came off an Achilles injury, and somehow he's starting over Christian. I think if you swap their nationalities, I do think Christian plays.
Do you think he plays over him?
I do. I think Christian's a better player. I think Callum is going to be a great player one day. I think he's much more raw of a talent than Christian is. Listen, Christian has 22 or he had 22 Champions League games for Dortmund.
Yeah.
Before he was 21 years old. That's a talented player. That's an experienced player.
Yeah.
To not make the 18, it's crazy.
It is. It's pretty crazy. Not gonna lie. I also think Lampard likes his boys from when he was at Derby, right?
Derby, yes.
Yeah. He likes his players. He knows them. He's gonna pick them. He's gonna pick them over him every time. Because
Mason Mount,
and he's doing well.
Bukayo Tomori,
and then Abraham. And I mean, he knows them.
I mean, he's known all of these kids
Yeah.
since they were young. And you have to understand that he does respect them. He knows their talent. He's been with them.
And they know him.
And they know
his style. They know
his style, and they know English football, right? I mean, they've been in England. I know the languages are the same for Christian, but still, I mean, the Bundesliga is a much different league than the Premier League.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, so it's tough. Now, I will say, in no way do I think this is the end of the world. Listen, let me give you a list of names.
Okay.
Mohamed Salah.
Yep.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Yep.
You're not going to like this one. Lukaku.
Yeah. I mean, I know where you're going with this list.
These are very good players now that most teams would take, that some would say are top players in the world, who couldn't break into Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
Right.
The kid's 21 years old. Chelsea are having a good season. I mean, I still picked them top 4. I think in our rankings.
Yeah.
I'm an optimist. I think Frank's going to be a decent coach. I do. And I think the league is wide open right now.
It's
for
crazy.
anybody.
It's crazy.
I think there's one team who's going to win it.
Yeah.
I think there's one team who's going to be right up there, and then I think from 3 to 8, I mean, I think it's anybody's league.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree.
And
that you cannot deny. It has been an absolute roller coaster of a season for everyone. It's just been nuts.
I said from the beginning, Arsenal have talented players. I don't think Unai Emery's a good coach, so I didn't pick them up there. Tottenham, I thought would finish 3 or 4. That's not happening. And then, I like what I was going to say Bournemouth. I do like what Eddie Howe has to offer, but Leicester's a good team. They have good players. I didn't think Palace would be this high. I thought Wolves would be higher, to be honest with you.
Well, Wolves had a rough start.
I love United down at 12.
I said at the beginning of the season, I stand by this. I really think he's going to be the first manager to get sacked.
But they whooped us 4-0 the opening game of the season. Everybody said how bad we are, how good they're going to be. And if anybody watched that game, it wasn't a 4-0 game.
It wasn't a 4-0 game. And I don't think anyone said how good they were going to be. I thought everyone said how bad you were. Nobody thinks United was good. Nobody thought United were good this year. I don't think anyone has said that. But anyway, let's move on. You want to move on?
We can move on.
All right. Because it's the international break, so it's time to talk about the international teams. So recently, I was interviewed for a upcoming podcast for the Scuffed podcast.
One of my favorite.
One of your favorite podcasts.
One of my favorite.
And honestly, I hadn't heard much about it because it's a U.S. youth primarily podcast. Yeah.
I mean, they most of the time they do interviews with youth players, youth coaches, people who understand the youth around. But they do preview the men's national team. They talk about the men's national team. But yeah, primarily it is a U.S. youth-based podcast, which is crack for me.
Yeah, and you can understand why probably I hadn't delved into it.
And I wouldn't expect you to.
Yeah.
But one of the big topics they do cover a lot, and it's something that comes up, and because it's something that constantly comes up, is dual national players.
Yeah, and that's what this interview was about. So he posted a question, and he said, if you are a Mexican living in the United States, who do you cheer for and why? and you pointed me in that direction.
Immediately thought about you.
It was a super interesting question to me because it's a very simple thing. It's your home team, and that's it. I think after we interviewed it was a good, it was like 50-minute interview or something like that, and I think by the end of it, I found out something. Not really found out because I already knew about kind of myself, but it kind of just reaffirmed. I'm not your typical Mexico fan.
No, you're not. And I think that's why I was so interested in having you go on and talk to him.
Yeah.
Because you aren't. To be honest with you, if someone were to throw you in the room and say you're a dual national, you're Mexican American, and they put you in either one, and then I talk to you for a couple minutes, I mean, I would think you would be one of the ones who would root for the U.S. national team.
Really? Why is that?
Because to me, you're not somebody who just roots for something just to root for. You have some type of hold on it, right? There's something that connects you to it. And for me, I feel like you aren't passionate about your Mexican heritage. I mean, you are proudly Mexican and Mexican American, but you grew up here, you lived here for a while, you served in the U.S. military.
Right.
You've gone to school here. You know, most of your life is here.
Right.
And then there's just, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
So that's actually one of the things we talked about. And I said everything you just said. I was like, I've been here most of my life. Got married here. Like, my wife is American. 10 years in the Navy this month, actually.
Congratulations and thank you.
10 great, wonderful years in the Navy. But the thing is, it's the same example I always use, and it makes a lot of sense to people because they can kind of relate with this. Like, if you were born in New York and you move to Boston, you marry somebody from Boston, you have a kid in Boston, you're still going to be a Yankees fan. You're not going to change to Red Sox. Nobody would do that.
But so I think I think you're very different than most people, right? Most people have an identity and identity crisis, and they think about it like that, and you don't. You're very cut and dry about it, of how it works. And I mean, listen, my parents are both born in the U.S. I was born in the U.S. I mean, we have very weak ties to Italy, so I am Italian in some way, and I do watch the Italian national team. I love Juventus as a team as well, before this giant run they've been on, and so for me it's difficult to understand, but I do see why people can, and kids in particular, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old kids can have a difficult time with this.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. I think it's...
But you don't see it as an identity thing, right? And forgive me and if I'm misinterpreting it. For you would pick the best chance you have to play, right? If
we're talking about being a youth player that has the chance of playing on both teams. Is that what you're saying?
Let's put a hypothetical.
Okay.
Actually, we don't really need a hypothetical. You are the hypothetical. But I want to make it even more difficult, right?
Okay.
So let's say your parents are born in Mexico City. They moved to the U.S. You were born here in the U.S. From a young age. You live in Southern California. You're 35 minutes from the Mexico border. Your parents are diehard Mexico fans, national team fans. Root for it. You grew up here in the U.S. I mean, your community's primarily Mexican American, but you grew up here playing soccer. You speak both English, Spanish. You have American friends. You have Spanish friends. To me, that seems like a difficult decision to make.
I think if you're a kid, it is.
Because for them, at this point, based on what you said earlier, they were born here, then they should be U.S., right? Yeah. That's what you said.
It makes sense.
The kids should just be naturally, I'm going to play for the U.S. team. That's my home country.
Right.
But when you have your parents in your ear And every day you grew up and you watched the Mexico team and you watched it with your dad. But it's got to be tough.
But that also has like an American sports analogy. Like, if you were born in Boston but your parents are both Yankees fans, and you grew up watching the Yankees, even if you're in Boston, you're still probably going to be a Yankees fan, right? Like, if your parents went to Florida.
That's a really good answer.
Yeah, if you went to Florida, if your parents went to Florida, if your grandparents, uncles, and everyone went to Florida, but you're dating someone from FSU, are you going to switch? Do you think? You probably just have that little... You're not going to switch. I don't think people switch like that. And that's just... People are really passionate about their college football down here.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, so it's not like, well, you can't compare nationality to college. Yeah, you can. People are crazy. When it comes to their college football. And I think people are crazy about their baseball too. Like,
sure, but I also think the Mexico national team has and you like to tell me all the time, they have the best traveling fans in the world. I think they're one of the most passionate fan bases in the world.
Absolutely.
So for these kids, I'm sure every weekend they were up with their dad watching the Mexico national team play. They probably watch Liga MX. I mean, you got to see why it's tough for them to make these decisions.
I absolutely agree that it's tough for them to make these decisions. And I think the pragmatic choice, like you said earlier just now, would be to pick the team where you have the best chance of getting minutes. Solid, meaningful minutes.
So early minutes in your career, right? Because these are 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds.
Yeah, but you don't have to pick. You're not cap tied until...
So you play... a meaningful competitive game.
Right.
And, I mean, the U.S. is calling up 18-year-olds to play meaningful competitive games.
Yeah, and then sometimes it might be like, I'm not ready to make that
Which
commitment.
Is fair, and then, I mean, that gets to the Serginho Dest analogy. But, I mean, so let's put it realistic. Let's just place it on one of the youth national team players that both Mexico and the U.S. want. Well, we could talk about either Alex Mendez or Yuli Lanes. Alex Mendez grew up in Southern California, Mexican parents, played in the LA Galaxy Academy, has played for the U.S. youth national team since 15, 17, 20s.
Yep.
He's now at Ajax. Juliana, same exact thing. Mexican family, played at the LA Galaxy Academy, played for the U.S. national teams from 15, 17, 20s. Now at Wolfsburg. Mexico comes calling. You answer the phone.
You mean you answer it and you don't say yes? Maybe look. So right now,
it's a tough decision, is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's more complicated, I think, than people think. A lot of times on the message boards, on the Twitter, you see people say, "Well, listen, the U.S. gave them all the opportunities. They were born in the U.S. I don't care that their family's Mexican. They should want to play for the U.S. And if they don't want to play for the U.S., then I don't want them." And I disagree with that take so much.
It has nothing to do with the opportunities that were afforded, because lots of players go through academies and then go elsewhere. Right? It's a dumb thing to say, like, well, if it weren't for us, you wouldn't have made it, because that's just dumb. Like 90% of the players in the world go through one academy and ended up in a different senior team. So that's dumb. But no, I don't think any player owes any team anything after a while. Maybe at the beginning, if you never got a chance and your manager finally gave you the chance to play or something like that. But like, for example, Dest. And I said, even if you were Mexican, I would say the exact same thing. I don't care how long you played for the youth teams. If the Netherlands is one of your options and the U.S. or Mexico is your other option, you'd be an idiot to not pick the Netherlands. They're a top-tier team. They're a top-tier national team, and Mexico and the U.S. are not.
The fact that he has the option to play next to Virgil van Dijk.
Right. That's...
Delight. Right, Delight's...
Yeah.
Is he Denmark or is he...
No, he's
Netherlands.
He's
right?
Dutch, yeah.
He's Dutch. I mean, for him not... Like, how he can pass up that... I mean, they show his name on the roster or on a team sheet next to theirs. I mean, I don't know how he could say no to that.
Yeah.
I respect the kid. I think he's super talented. I mean, you have to be 18 years old and playing for Ajax in Champions League football. I think it's a tough decision, though, at the end of the day, and I think it's more... I think I've kind of dominated your segment though, in what you wanted to talk about.
No. That's exactly the whole conversation was that, and he ended up telling me at the end because I kept telling him, I was like, look. He said something like, do you think most Mexicans this, most Mexicans that, or how do you think Mexican fans react to this? And I was like, dude, I'm probably the worst Mexican to ask about stuff like this.
You're getting cut. You're not making it on the pod.
I was like, because I don't think like them. Like, I don't think like Mexicans think, because when it comes to this sort of thing, like you said earlier, it's all about this like identity. And to me, it's really dumb. To me, it's not about where you're from or what you look like, it's what you do with yourself. So, like, identity means nothing to me.
So tell us why you root for Mexico.
I root for Mexico because I was born there. I grew up watching them. It's the team that my grandpa... Like, I remember, I told him this story. I don't know if I've ever told this story to you or on this show.
Content. Let's hear it.
One of my earliest soccer memories was watching the World Cup. It was... second round, round of 16, Mexico against Bulgaria, and we were winning. And then Bulgaria scored 2 goals and beat us in the second half, and we got eliminated. And I remember crying. I must have been, I don't remember if it was 94. When was it World Cup US?
94.
94, it was 90 then.
Oh, man.
Yeah, was it Italy? Italy 90, right? Yeah, it had to be Italy 90.
Ask me why I have a hard time remembering the 90 World Cup.
Because you were one?
I was not born yet.
Yeah, it had to be Italy 90 then. Yeah, we got beat by Bulgaria. Dude, I was like super little. But I remembered losing and crying. And so, as any kid growing up, you know, with all your family rooting for a particular team, you grow up rooting for that team, and then you move somewhere else. You still rooting for the team. And like I don't know. I think even if you like try to make an analogy to a U.S. sport, like if you grow up, you go to Miami, you live in Miami all your life, you went to Miami, you're a Hurricanes fan. You move to California with your wife and to start a family. You're still gonna like get the pay-per-view to watch the Hurricanes, right? I mean,
yeah. But so being let's divide this into two different things though. Okay. Being a fan is one thing, and choosing a team to play for is another, right?
Absolutely.
You're telling me the choice. If it comes to a choice, right? These kids could have grown up Mexican national team fans, and I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the choice, you're telling me whichever one you have meaningful minutes. You don't pick the better team. You don't pick, right? Because let's face it. The U.S. is typically a worse team than where they're recruiting from other teams from, right? I mean, so they have ample opportunity and more opportunity for people to break into a lineup.
Right. So
maybe with Mexico and the U.S. it's closer than it would be for the U.S. and Netherlands.
Of course.
Or the U.S. and Germany and John Brooks's situation. So
right now, if
you were on the phone with Tata Martino and then Greg Berhalter called you and said, I want to call you into the camp for this next camp. I think you can start on this team. I'm ready for you to play. And Tata Martino calls you and said, hey, we're really interested in you, but I think we need to wait a couple years for you to develop, go to a bigger club. What do?
You go... I personally would go to Berhalter.
And you just go and start, even though you might be on the worst team, you might be on a team that you didn't root for as a kid.
I mean, it just depends how important playing for a national team is. If it really means that much to you and you want to play at that international level, then yeah. But if you think that you can develop into a better player and potentially play for a better team, which is currently is the case,
yeah,
then
I'm not going to dispute that.
Like right now, like if the Netherlands is saying to Dest, like we think you're a future starter for this national team, you go. There's not even a question.
But right now he's a starter for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah.
I've been saying that before he started for Ajax. I've been saying that since he was playing U15 Nike friendlies down the road at Sarasota when I watched them on my computer and had to log in and watch an illegal stream and stuff.
We do not condone illegal streams on this podcast.
I mean, that's how deep I am into the weeds of this stuff. And I thought he's super talented back then. I think he's super talented now. But if the U.S. is offering him a starting spot right now, and the Netherlands says, hey, we think you can be a starter with this team a couple years down the line. There's a big gap between those two teams, right? Netherlands can challenge for a World Cup. I don't think this is going off out of the limb and saying the U.S. probably cannot challenge for a World Cup or qualify for one. It's still got to be a tough decision.
I don't know. I don't think it is. Not in that. I think it's a lot tougher decision for Mexico, U.S. for two reasons. The teams are closer together in terms of quality than the U.S. and the Netherlands, and the countries are so close together that that friction exists all the time.
Right.
Whereas in the Netherlands, he's in another continent, for goodness sake. He doesn't experience
any... He plays his football there, too. So for him, it'd actually be easier to go to a Dutch camp than it would be for him to fly all the way to the U.S.
Yeah, and if he has a chance to play for the Netherlands or play for the U.S., I think the rational decision is to try for the Netherlands. That's what I think.
I mean, I think he should, too. Yeah. I mean, no, listen, I don't think he should. I think he's stupid not to accept the offer and play with literally world-class players. Yeah. So there's a discussion. I'm going to kind of change this a little bit now. There's a discussion whether or not he has more value if there's a Dutch flag next to his name or an American flag next to his name, and if he'll be seen differently when it comes to transfers, when it comes to notoriety, when it comes to marketing. I know I'm taking us a little bit out of the on-the-field stuff.
No, that's fine. This is interesting.
I want to know what you think about that.
So there's definitely, and I think...
In which way do you think it slants towards, right? For each, we'll say each one of the categories.
So I think I've said this to you before. Now, I don't know how personally you want to get on this, but you married a Brazilian.
I did.
Yes. I happen to think Brazilian soccer players are the most overrated and overvalued players in the world. If you're a Brazilian and you are a 70, you're going to be, 20 million euros more expensive than the exact same player if he's Belgian.
I mean, I won't disagree because I implore you and I ask you to go and look at every single roster of a top-tier club around the world, or not even just a first division club around the world, and try and find a team that does not have a Brazilian on it.
And I will tell you this. Lucas Moura is the first Brazilian since I've been watching Tottenham that's any good. And we've had a lot.
On Tottenham, you're saying?
On Tottenham.
Okay.
We've had Paulinho, who was garbage. Sandro, who was garbage. That keeper, Gomez, is just the worst keeper we've ever had. So many, but that's the thing. Like, we need a Brazilian. Oh, he's Brazilian. Let's grab him because he's got the little flag next to his name, and he's Brazilian, and he ends with Inho, and he's valued more than what he's worth. Do I think? So on that note, yes. If he's got a Dutch flag next to his name, he's worth more than he's got a U.S. flag.
So you think his transfer value goes up?
100%.
His wages go up.
100%.
But some people make the argument now, and they flip it, and they say, well, most of these teams are trying to break into the American market. Kind of like how people are breaking into the Chinese market right now. I just watched a video today while I was at work, not working, that Ajax came to the U.S. and announced their plans to market into the U.S. or break it, whatever it is. It's the idea that they're breaking into the U.S. to try and build their fan base. And, I mean, you see it with Premier League coverage nowadays, and you see it with all the Twitter handles that are U.S.-based soccer Twitter handles, right? Liverpool has a U.S. one. Premier League has a U.S. one. I mean, some people make the argument that Pulisic's transfer value was completely inflated just because he's an American and because he's going to bring the viewers.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Some people say
Some people are stupid. That's really ridiculous. It's the exact opposite. The reason people come to the Americas, like anywhere from the U.S. down to Argentina, maybe not Argentina and Brazil, maybe those are the two countries that don't apply, but you come here to get really talented kids for cut rate prices. That's why people go to Africa and Asia.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to Brazil, Argentina, or Europe, for a kid, you're going to pay premium. Whereas if you go to Mexico or Jamaica or Korea or Nigeria, you could get a really quality player for half the price. And that's whatever. It's how the market works.
So for him as a player, I mean, you could only play professionally so long, right?
True.
I mean, it's a very limited window. You have a short time. For him, just from a business point of view, then wouldn't it be smarter just for him to join the Netherlands and have, instead of the American flag next to him, he'll have that Dutch flag, and now his wages go up, his transfer value goes up, he makes more money in his short career, and maybe he gets more chances just because he is Dutch.
Yeah. I never thought about that aspect of it, but that's 100% true.
All right, well, he's picking the Netherlands. We've decided to do that today.
So just call him up and just let him know.
Send him our PowerPoint presentation on why it's better for him to choose the Dutch national.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, I for the first time in my life, I think this will be the first player I've ever seen actually play for the senior national team. I mean, not in a competitive game, obviously, but play for the senior national team and then switch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a big blow. I mean, that's not something you see every day. Most of the time, it doesn't happen. So for him to accept the call up and play, and then a month or two later switch is...
I don't blame you for being a little torn up about it, especially because he probably does have a bright future. I mean, you never know what could happen. He might flop.
Sure.
He might have flopped at the U.S. anyway. I mean, he's 18. You never know what could happen. But, I mean, I don't...
You don't, but you need, especially when it comes to national teams, you need just as many lines out as you can, trying to reel in anything that you can. Because, that's why Brazil is so good at the international level. They could pick a player from any team and create a team.
Yeah.
Whether or not they'd be good or overrated or not, that's a different story. But, I mean, the more lines you have, the more fish you catch.
Absolutely. So, but there is a game today. There are 2 games today.
There are 2 games.
Soon.
Starting very, very soon.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap it up. And let's talk about your predictions for the U.S. team.
So tonight we play Cuba.
Powerhouse.
Powerhouse.
Of the
This
Caribbean.
is the first Nations League game. I have to be honest, I'm not very excited about the Nations League. I don't care for it right now. I think we need, at minimum, a 3-0 win.
Yeah.
Probably 4.
Yeah.
4 would be better, and convincing. I mean, because Berhalter's been the coach now he's had a Gold Cup, he's had multiple camps. I mean, it's time to start getting results.
Yeah.
I think we're still missing our best player in Tyler Adams. Everybody knows how I feel
He's
about
still
him.
hurt?
Injured. He's been injured all season.
Wow.
He's slated to come back, hopefully, November.
Okay.
And then still Timothy Weah is actually hurt too for Lille after his big move. So we're missing talented European players. But I mean, this is Cuba. You've got to beat them 4-0.
I think they've already lost twice against Canada.
Yeah, they have.
So.
I think it was like a 6-0 or 6-1, and then maybe a 1 or 2-0 away. This is home. The talent gap is huge.
Huge. And half the players are going to defect.
Well, no, they can't this time. The game is the Cuba game actually isn't. No, you're right. Yeah. I was going to take that back. I was going to say something, but I'm wrong.
No, because they did that in the Gold Cup. They play it and then they're like, okay, bye. Yeah. So I completely agree. I think the U.S. should win this group easily.
I think Canada's a good team.
They're very good, but I think overall, the U.S. has got a reputation.
Yeah,
to
no doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna go watch it.
Yep.
We thank you, and we're gonna do these more often.
Hopefully, yeah, man.
I say that as a question, but it should be a statement.
Yes, it sounded like a statement to me, but anyway. So, as always, I've been Caleb.
And I'm Anthony.
And we are The Rivals.